Marincess combos, it's about that time. Marincess. Combos with Marins. I'm joking, let's get it. So now that we got the fun stuff out of the way, guys, I wanted to talk about one of my favorite decks, Marincess, Water Hose, Blue Tang Clan, whatever the hell you want to call them, Water Hose. I know it's really cringe. But we got to talk about some of the new cards. Marincess Dive is the first card I wanted to talk about. Marincess Seahorse always said add one Marincess spell, and now you know why. This card is basically, if you have the field spell on the field, it's an emergency teleport. If you don't, it's a monster reborn. Really fast way of explaining it. In this specific scenario, I'm just showing with it or without it, obviously, as I just explained. Without the field spell, reborn. So here we reborn the Marincess Seahorse. Any Marincess by itself can pretty much do this, but Seahorse is probably the best target. Again, if you have the field spell, it's an emergency teleport. Important to remember, we'll highlight and show that later. In this specific combo, we're using Splash Mage to then pull back the Seahorse and then go directly into an Anemone. After you summon Anemone, you can pull back the Splash Mage and then make any of the Link 3s or Link 4s. It's basically going to depend on specifically what you need and what matchup you're going against. With the new card Aqua Argonaut, if you're going against a back row deck, you're probably going to want to select it. If you're going against a combo deck, you probably want to pick Bubble Reef so that you can draw in the hand traps. If you're going against the aggro deck, you probably want to pick a card like Marbled Rock. Marbled Rock obviously adds cards back, gives you a resource pool, and can kick Marincess Wave and other cards like that back into your hand. In this combo, this is a 2-card combo highlighting the other new card, the Spring Girl. And Spring Girl and Pascalis are both the same thing. Pascalis is basically Marauding Captain, and this card, the new card Spring Girl, is basically Aqua Spirit for Marincess. In this specific combo, again, we're dumping a card off of Blue Tang. We're starting with Blue Tang and then dumping the Marincess Seahorse, and then with Blue Slug's effect, obviously chaining in the Blue Tang. I don't have to show the Blue Tang, you guys pretty much know what that is, but I just wanted to show how your hands can look if you start to hit on some of these cards. You add back the Seahorse off of Blue Slug, locking you in the water, and then you special summon the Seahorse to a zone the Link monster points to, thus adding the Marincess Sea Angel and then Battle Ocean. Specifically for this combo, I'm just showing the Battle Ocean line of play. If you already have it, you would obviously grab the other spell that we already talked about. But from there, you then go into the same type of combo where you go into the Anemone, but this time, instead of bringing back the Splash Mage, you're basically bringing back the Blue Tang, and then from there, you can go into a rank 4 play here. You don't have to, but then you're banishing for Spring Girl, and then going basically into the Crystal Heart that makes everything unaffected. And then from there, you're just in good business because that card becomes unaffected. Usually right here, if I'm going against a combo deck, 99% of the time, I'm literally going to grab Bubble Reef, and then boom, there you have it. It's another way to set up, another way to have a pretty strong hand, and then still basically have a strong setup going forwards. Obviously right here, I actually mistyped. You only get to mill off of Spring Girl for the amount of monsters that are Marincess that are on your field. Make sure it's not Marincess cards, but monsters alone. In this combo, I wanted to show Pascalis. Again, Pascalis is basically Marauding Captain for Marincess. Very powerful card, at least for the archetype, but it dies very hard to Veiler, and obviously dies very hard to cards like IMPERIUM, so that may go into your deck building strategy of how in the world you're going to deal with that. Again, it's the same thing. Pascalis, special Blue Tang, dump the Seahorse, kick the Seahorse back into your hand, go into the field spell. Field spell activates after a while, and then you're right back into rolling all over again. Again, Splash Mage being able to be summoned this time. And in this combo, again, I wanted to show how you can basically either 1, overlay for rank 4, or 2, go directly into your next line of play where you go into Anemone and then pull back the Splash Mage or the Blue Tang. Here I wanted to go into the Blue Tang to show, bang, this is where you make the rank 4. You can play Dweller. I'm not actually maining the Dweller. And you can also go into Bahamut Shark Toad and then go from there. And then Marbled Rock and Anemone can help you to pretty much load your hand all the way back up to do the same thing next turn. That's not horrible, guys. It's not going to be the most meta thing you've ever seen, but a card pool, a deck like this, very similar to Salamangreat. It's literally water salad. It's just really powerful to be able to keep kicking resources back in your hand to be able to do it all over again the next turn. In this specific combo, I wanted to show 4-mood skipper, which I feel like is obviously mandatory now, and the death of Scripton. Shout out to Scripton, the Genzo looking guy. He's not relevant anymore because of this new Marincess card that you're adding. He's a Cyburst, the Sleepy Maiden. Basically, any Marincess card that you have, you target it, you protect it while she's on the field, and you can spam out Sleepy Maiden onto the field. From there, you make Anemone. Anemone can pull back the Sleepy Maiden. And if you're going against a deck that's going to Nibiru you, you pretty much have a drop out onto the field that's going to pretty much hand you a really big Nibiru token if they decide to Nibiru you. But in this specific scenario, you obviously have 3 costs out, so you should be good. From here, there's different variations you can go into. And in this specific scenario, I wanted to show Aqua Argonaut, which 1 is a protective card, 2 is a spot removal, 3 can deal with back row. So if you're going against a back row deck, I'd pick this card. Or if you're going against a deck that you want to protect specific cards against, Aqua Argonaut is a really, really powerful choice. If you're going into trying to attack over something, you want to go into Wonderheart. And this is where a card like Maiden can matter, because you can attach cards from the grave back onto these monsters, which these are the only cards that it'll really matter. With the second combo, I wanted to show with 4-mood skipper. With 4-mood skipper, and you already opened the field spell, it's pretty much the same thing. Again, you're revealing any of the link ones, and then it's a level 4 or lower Marincess card, so then you just start off your play. So basically, it's another copy of Blue Tang, but you have to be aware that 4-mood skipper dies to Valor and Imperm. And again, because it's a level 5 Cyburst and Scripton is no longer needed, Sleepy Maiden is a new target for the 4-mood skipper, so you're pretty much good from there. You target the field spell, protect it from being able to be destroyed, and then obviously you add a dive off of the Sea Angel this time. And because you already control the field spell, the card now becomes emergency teleport. And then from there, the new insane thing, and this is why I think dive is actually the best card. It's literally an e-tele for a card like Blue Tang that is basically the best starter in Yu-Gi-Oh! Literally, you can try to find a card that can compare to it. Let me know if you think there's a better starter than that card, but I think Blue Tang is actually the best starter, and now you can e-tele it. So basically, you have like a farm girl-like feel to this deck now, which is really, really interesting, although it's not attack-based, it's more resource-based. From there, you then go into a Splash Mage after you've extended in some form or fashion with one of these cards. Anemone's going to kick back more cards. And then from there, if you do kick back the Spring Girl, you basically have free spam for a Bahamut Shark, and then all back to square one. You're pretty much going to end this time in this specific combo on that Aqua Argonaut and a Totally Awesome, which is 2 negates. One's an Omni negate, one's a Spell or Trap negate, and you can't attack over the Totally Awesome because of the dupe frog-like effect of not being able to attack anything but Aqua Argonaut. That's really, really good, guys. The deck is definitely, this doesn't have the most meta support, but it definitely is something that matters in the long run. Now, obviously, I'm an enormous fan of this deck. This deck's ability to resource like this and then still have 4 cards to be able to do a whole combo, because Seahorse is a whole combo in and of itself. Depending on what your hand was, guys, this is decent. This isn't going to be meta breaking, but it's definitely going to be a resource deck that you have to pay attention to now. And it's slowly creeping towards the level of Salamangreat. I think it's actually really, really close now. And that's why we're getting into this skeleton / profile. And I wanted to show some cards. I have no idea whether, I feel like you have to play Desires, but I'm just showing all of the cards that I really want to play. When I'm doing these are skeletons. And this is obviously just a slightly modified version of the current version of Marincess, just to slip in these new cards. I don't know specifically all the ratios that I want to have, but I did want to show that having 3 of each card, I think Sleepy Maiden is going to be a 3 of. I think Spring Girl is also a 3 of, but that could, I feel like the Sleepy Maiden, it may have some options there. Spring Girl, I feel like it's automatic 3 of. That's definitely, that's just that. With the cross out, you obviously have to play cross out for a card like Nibiru, and then you obviously have to play the one Nibiru. And then with the Marincess dive, I feel like it's an easy 3 of. Upstart Goblin. Imperm is another card I'd be worried about. Valor is a card that I'd play multiples of, just because it can actually beat cross out if you have multiple in your hand. And then the extra deck is really interesting in and of itself too, because I feel like you maybe want to play multiple Sea Angels. You maybe want to play Dweller. You don't have to play Dweller, but then like Wonderheart's not in your extra deck. So it's like you have to really figure out what exactly is in your extra deck. But I feel like Bahamut Shark and Toad is mandatory. And then playing at least 2 of the smaller links is probably going to be mandatory as well, just because you need to have that set up. I also think Splash Mage is another one of those cards. And in the big link 4s, I just feel like you just play one of, and then you use them for their specific scenarios that they're actually needed in. Guys, let me know what you think about this deck. Do you think it's going to be meta? Do you feel like this is game shattering? Do you feel like this deck is going to be on this level? Let me know what you feel and play Desires. Have a good one.